Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And week 2 of Stage 2 of the CDL 2021 is coming to a close tonight. Many more interesting matchups to run through though right at the end of the video. But also wanted to discuss these other things that have gone down this last day or so. Still can't get my mind off that FaZe versus Los Angeles Thieves humiliation that we saw yesterday. Few interesting topics to run through and tweet your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's get into things then. This is pretty funny actually from the subliners right here. An honour worthy of the recognition. Congratulations Prestinni on your crowning achievement after falling off the map what they say is the 500th time. He gets an award that he puts up on his mantelpiece, takes out the COD Champs trophy or whatever else was up there. But this was kind of a big news that came out yesterday, and certainly some pros have got their varying opinions on this. Speaking of Prestinni, I thought it was pretty relevant. News report, COD 2021 will run on Modern Warfare's engine. Now look, I'm not too familiar with how much the engine causes like differences within the game. I'm pretty sure like it's mainly to do with like the hit detection and how that stuff works. I'm pretty sure you could probably build a game with different movement mechanics on a game with the same engine, and this certainly makes sense that they want to go down the Modern Warfare route, because I think I mean most people prefer Modern Warfare, at least from a casual sense, like the casual representation of Modern Warfare in people's eyes is a lot better than Cold Wars, so I can understand why they want to go down this route of having whatever this new Call of Duty is going to be called, World War II Vanguard or whatever, on Modern Warfare's engine, but then well, maybe giving Sledgehammer still the creative freedom to design the game how they would like to, because I think a lot of pros would be kind of down for the idea that, okay, we go back to a World War II style game where maybe there's no sliding and this kind of movement mechanics don't exist anymore. I know there's been a lot of frustration about that. I'm sure some pros would still like it to be in the game though, so there's certainly two sides of things, but I'm not really sure the engine affects that, which is kind of what there was some discussion on it yesterday. As Crimsix says, of course, world champion and Prestinni though on this game last year, huge W. Some of you should really research game engines if you think this is a bad thing, so certainly on board with Modern Warfare's engine returning for World War II, but what implications does that potentially have for how the game plays and how the game feels? Maybe it's not all on the positive side, and as he says, look, it has nothing to do with the game engine in terms of attack sprint and these other things. Those are kind of mechanical decisions that Infinity Ward made at the time. But well, Prestinni is not exactly so convinced. This is a poll from Charlie Intel. I kind of wanted to just see results, not even really sure which one I prefer. But yeah, you know, obviously the majority of the community thinks Modern Warfare Warzone engine is the way to go, and it makes sense they're going down this route for the new game, because of course they want the Warzone integration and all that type of stuff, which is going to happen going forwards. But Prestinni isn't exactly so convinced. You know, he tweets this out right here, this gif implying that he's pretty sad that Modern Warfare's engine is returning for this new title. Pretty interesting, right, of course, because Crimsix and Prestinni both together on the Dallas Empire when they won the World Championship on this game. So you'd have thought they'd have been kind of equally down or equally against it. But yeah, that is kind of what's happening right now. Pros not exactly fully on board with the move. But yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, if the maps are good, the gunplay is good, I think it's going to be a great game regardless. And I honestly hope they get the colours right a little bit better this time round, rather than last time where it was very much a grey scale situation in World War II. Hopefully World War II Vanguard, they ramp up the saturation somewhat, as Treyarch always tend to do a good job of in the games that they make. As Prestinni says yesterday as well, it would have actually been FeLo's birthday yesterday. I think it was March 27th. He would have been 22. So yeah, really unfortunate to see. But yeah, as Prestinni says, look, FeLo would have been so gross with this game. Hope you're resting easy. And this is kind of the discussion we had way back during the Rostermania period. The idea that there were rumours that New York were actually trying to get FeLo, and it didn't work out. As Prestinni says right here, we tried everything we could to get him on New York, but just couldn't come to terms with Florida. So it seems like Florida didn't want to let him go. They tried to, you know, Prestinni tried to, and the rest of the New York guys tried to put up the cash to get FeLo onto the team, but yeah, it didn't work out. Florida, they couldn't come to terms with him, and well, that would have been a great team to see. It's just super unfortunate how things have worked out, and well, this happened yesterday as well. So Wuskin's been talking these last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of discussion regarding, you know, Wuskin's place, of course, in the league last season on the Royal Ravens, then gets removed, and the whole drama behind the scenes, the fact that people were talking about supposedly that he doesn't have the work ethic, he chalks off scrims, and even though he's come out a number of times and explained why those things were not the case. And as he says right here, best free agent in the EU, message me, let's see what we can get going. Because Parasite came out on the podcast and said, look, if Wuskin wants to be back in the Pro League next year, and of course he's doing a great job streaming right now, but you've got to think that maybe what Scraps is doing over there at Paris, he's at least getting a guaranteed salary, right? And it does enable a bit more financial security in that sense. And well, as he says right here, it seems maybe he's implying to get back in the league. This is kind of funny for this guy. I love Wuskin, but he's too far behind me for him to get a chance. And you know, Wuskin kind of shuts him down with obviously the dollars earned right here, even though he compares the two GB profiles. Pretty entertaining. But this is what he says just before he goes to bed. I want to make it clear that I'm absolutely mind blown. Sounds like Nameless out of the timeline at this stigma about my name about working hard, and didn't bother with challenges this year up until now. Didn't get a single offer from a team in EU. You know, it's always negative on my name. So interesting stuff, right? Because you can imagine a player like Wuskin, like teams are kind of be lining up to get Wuskin on the team, and so maybe he thinks that this kind of stigma that he had around the Rostermania period, one of the reasons why he didn't get signed, is then affecting his success on the challenger side. Then again, as he says right there, like if you're a guy like Wuskin, you can probably just tweet out a free agent tweet, and all of a sudden you've got amateur players lining up at your door to try and team with you, right? So, you know, anyway, we'll have to see how things go going forwards. And as Clay says right here, look, gotta speak up more about it. People spin narratives that get parroted, and eventually everyone just assumes it's true. Unless you're OpTic, no one is going to stick up for you, and it just keeps getting believed, and the cycle continues. You know, I've got my head down grinding, bro. I don't want any issues. You know, politics are far too important in this scene. And as he says, no one would know anything unless it came from your team last year. And this has really been the drama that Wuskin's kind of been hinting at last year. I think at Dylan Cott especially. I'm not really sure if other members of that team, but kind of the idea was that the guys on his team internally didn't obviously like him on the squad. That's why he's no longer there. And maybe we're even like spreading rumor mills behind the scenes to make sure Wuskin didn't get picked up elsewhere. That's maybe how Wuskin sees it. But as Clay says right here, realistically, you'll never find out exactly where it came from. People just hear things and then it spreads around the scene. So, you know, we'll have to see how this goes going forwards. I mean, I think Wuskin certainly got the talent to still be in the league, but probably expansion would have to come in, right? Because being a main assault rifle is not an easy role to be in right now. And yeah, there are obviously so many fantastic main assault rifles in the league, and even you've got Methods now sitting there on the bench. You've got certainly some amateur players, the likes of, you know, Phantoms, Gravity, who've been around for a number of years, and obviously you've shown great promise in the past. So yeah, there's questions about whether Wuskin actually would get a spot back, and I think he certainly does need to, you know, compete through challenges and show he still has the pace on the map to actually get picked up to a franchise team next year if expansion does come in. And if it doesn't, I think it's going to be a hard time for a number of these players. This that Chrome goes full detective mode on last night. So a couple of weeks ago, we saw this video that he pointed out right here of Dashy signing these signatures right here, and Hex was kind of saying it's not what you think it is, it's not merch, it's something else for the CDL. And Chrome goes full Scooby-Doo on the timeline. So CDL or OpTic cards coming soon. I spy an Upper Deck Sports logo in Hex's story. Formal and Dashy both now spotted signing stickers. So if you look at this pretty closely, this is from Hex's story right here. This logo up in the top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner, looks exactly like this one from Upper Deck Sports. And as they say, like collect the best, collect Upper Deck, the leader in sports trading cards and collectible memorabilia. So it seems like that might be what's happening right here. And somewhat unfortunate to see, of course, because Lion Man has been doing these phenomenal cards for years now. And I think maybe there was some discussion of him being involved in this maybe a couple of years ago if they wanted to do it back then, maybe even before the CDL came into play. But it is clearly not been the case. He says right here, like, can confirm zero involvement in this one. Unfortunately for Lion Man, because I'd have loved to see him involved in some capacity in developing these, but I can see the CDL's perspective there, like, okay, we're just going to do it ourselves and we're going to get Upper Deck on board or whoever to make this happen. But honestly, it could be a pretty big revenue driver. These sports cards in general, these trading cards, I mean, obviously Pokemon's been blowing up as of late as well, and the NFTs whole thing that's happening as well, that you got to think that this is certainly a step in the right direction. And yeah, opening packs of like CDL cards and stuff, that'd be really cool to see. I think it's only a matter of time until it happens. The CDL seem to be on board with this. I wonder if other teams are getting involved with this as well, or if it's just an OpTic specific thing. I imagine it's a CDL more widely. But you know how it is with OpTic, you tend to get more stuff that comes out from the public facing side. This that Round 11 stats mentions yesterday, I wonder what the stats were for Garrison before it was removed from Search and Destroy. I'm pretty sure Garrison might have actually been 0 A-plants. But this is what it is for Checkmate right now, which is honestly remarkable. Like, surely if there's one map which has got to go, it's got to be Checkmate. As you can see right here, 3 bomb times, or 3 times the bomb's gone down at A, 53 times it's gone down at B. All the other maps, I mean, Miami is incredibly balanced, Raid is incredibly balanced, Moscow is pretty balanced as well, Express not so balanced, but relatively small sample size. And I've seen a lot more teams going towards A as of late. And honestly, Express, even though maybe one bomb side is favoured, it still plays pretty well. But the same certainly cannot be said for Checkmate, in my opinion. And Arcitys tweets it as well. Why don't you guys play Checkmate SnD? What is going on here? Like, yeah, it's not the map for us. So maybe in time another map will come into play. I mean, there has been some discussion about Apocalypse Search and Destroy. Could that potentially work? Maybe, maybe not. And hopefully another map will come in, like a DLC map, a throwback map, or something of the sort. I'd love to see them bring back like Meltdown or something for Black Ops 2. I don't know if they will do. It's probably not the greatest public match map in the world, but I kind of enjoyed it. And for Search and Destroy, honestly, I thought it was pretty fantastic. So that might be a nice thing to come into the game if they're not willing to bring back Standoff, which of course would be the go-to, but I mentioned that every video that I get the opportunity to do so. This I thought was pretty funny as well that Octane comes out with yesterday. He finished this map 5 in 29 with 1600 damage, and I wasn't really sure what was going on here. There is an explanation we'll look at in a second, but as you can see, we've got Paul X, Zed, Shawnee, and Dylan, so that's the entire London Royal Ravens squad, up against Gunless, Prestinni, Loony, and Joey Nubsy, right? So instead of Octane, for some reason Octane can't play this one. I think Gunless explains it in a second, saying Sam was in the bathroom, and they demanded we start the final map with Joey, since it was the very final map. So Joey comes into the game, and as you can see right here, joeyNubsy, the coach of this team, clearly never played professional Call of Duty, is obviously not in the best position to do so well here. They're getting completely bodied by the Ravens, and he manages to go 5 in 29 in a map which I imagine ended pretty damn quickly. So pretty entertaining stuff, but it does kind of bring up the whole storyline once again of like, look, at the end of the day, Seattle don't have a substitute, right? They don't have someone who can step into the big moments. Yesterday, if those scanner repair issues continued for Cellium, at least they would have had Sib that could have come into the lineup and actual respectable substitutes that can step in and actually do a decent job. Whereas, if the same thing happened to Seattle, joeyNubsy would literally be the only one who'd be able to step in because he's the only one contracted to do so. So, not ideal. Of course, there are monetary reasons behind this with the whole pandemic situation going on. But you've got to think that a substitute player should be a step in the right direction. Maybe we can discuss that in coming days. And we already looked at this one. And this as well was pretty funny. There was like a Japanese COD tourney that was going on yesterday, and there was this guy getting a nasty 3-piece, and his name was City of New York. And Clay's like, look, City of New York, you say, get this guy a contract. I mean, imagine that'd be pretty interesting if there was another young guy that came up from the scene, called City of New York, and Clay comes in and picks him up. But pretty entertaining to see some Call of Duty be played in other regions. Certainly, maybe only a matter of time until those regions get represented in the CDL. But here it is. These are the group standings right now. So Group A is done for the week. FaZe, of course, 3-0. Top 3 right now, as you can see, Thieves down at 1-3. They've got a tough time. They've got to beat Los Angeles Grillers. If they do so, maybe there's still a chance they get winners, but I'm honestly not sure if there even is at this point because, the teams, FaZe, Subliners, Ravens, all hold the tiebreakers over Los Angeles Thieves. So Group B is where the action is going on today. So this is honestly, there's so many massive matchups here because all the matches are happening in Group B today. As you can see, these are the games. Legion Surge, Empire, Rokkr, and OpTic Mutineers. Very exciting ones, right? Because Rokkr Empire, we saw what Rokkr did to OpTic just a few days ago. Will they continue that train? Or, will Empire be able to find a way to shut them down here? Seattle, Paris Legion, that could be a very close one. And then OpTic Mutineers. All these series are very important because as you see, if OpTic can win this one, okay, they're in a solid spot. They play Seattle next and then they play Dallas. But if they lose this one, all of a sudden you're asking a similar question to the Thieves, right? Like how much chance they realistically have to get to winners? They're going to have to turn up big time to get the job done. And for the Mutineers, certainly a banana skin team for a number of the top teams, I think, last season and probably this season as well. But if OpTic get through it, I expect them to find a way to do so and, bounce back significantly from their defeat to Minnesota Rokkr not too long ago, then, they'll find themselves in a reasonable spot. But, honestly, this group is absolute chaos. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm if you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
CAG の攻めを一人で瓦解させました。信じられない。これで